What's going on?
Hello.
Week 2
What up, boys?
in the books. Coming back at you with our second recording. Gonna switch it up a little bit this week and kind of jump right into it, but we're glad to be back, fine-tuning some things, getting better. Don't forget that I'm gonna post this on the podcast also. If you don't have time to watch the whole video, you can listen to it on the Anchor app on the podcast, and it'll be a shorter episode this week. I still have the free Zoom. Maybe when we get some sponsors or something, we could upgrade to the real deal. But it was a good week. A couple teams emerged 2-0. A couple teams fell to the dreaded 0-2. And a couple guys like myself just kind of got that first win after a start, or maybe suffered that first loss. So, you know, a little movement there. A couple teams emerging is good and not just a 1 week wonder. A lot of people crowning Austin already, it seems. I'm not one of those people. I'm not sold yet. I think his team is very good, but I'm not crowning anybody at week 2. So long way to go. A lot is going to happen and change. So looking at the first matchup of the week that we are going to review today is the Waxhaw Stink Pickles and the Renegades. Speaking to the Stink Pickles, they feel like their points have been where they need to be. They've said to me a few times they've scored in the hundreds both week, but are 0-2. We hear that every year from someone that's 0-2. They complain about points. It's the same old argument. You lost. That's bottom line. So he'll try to get into the win column, but for now he is 0-2 after an impressive first rookie season in the league where he went all the way to the title game thinking this was easy. I think he is getting brought down to earth just a little bit, that this is a competitive league. And the 3-time champ Renegades moved to 2-0, knocking off the Stink Pickles. Looking at the box score, really highlighted by the Lamar Jackson performance, 42 points. That's tough to lose when your quarterback puts up that kind of point. So that's huge. Matched by Joe Burrow's only 16. He's been underperforming. The Bengals have all around. Jonathan Taylor, number 1 pick in the draft with a 6. Don't like to see that. While Joe Mixon outscored him by 4 points. And Aaron Jones, huge performance, 29 points against A.J. Dillon, really with only 6. So where the Stink Pickles really had another strong performance was that Buffalo D was his high score of 22 points. That defense is killing it. So he, other than that, Cortland Sutton, Mark Andrews had a pretty good game. Not really much there all around, but he did still score over 100, but lost. Rocket Charlie continues to struggle with this tight end decision with still 2-0 with, I think, double goose eggs from this guy. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you got the win, so he'll have to look at tight end heavily this week. But Aaron Jones, Lamar Jackson alone really crushed it. Christian Kirk, 19.8. Josh Jacobs with 8. Cleveland D didn't do much for him. They gave up a lot of points, but 129 points, very good performance. So really awesome matchup. And then I will just jump into a little bit about a couple performances that stood out to me this week. A good one and a bad one. We'll take the good first. Austin's Amon St. Brown. That guy, absolute monster. 30-point game. I was heavily targeting him, but obviously not high enough. He is crushing it on what is already a dangerous receiving core for Austin. So his receiving core looks really ridiculous. So I'll give him that credit. And then the bad start of the week, I think Jordan's still riding the Justin Fields wagon. It let him down again in a big way. He's going to have to look at quarterbacks on the waiver wire this week because it's not looking like anything with that Bears offense is really going to cut it for him. So, that's my bad decision of the week, and I would be surprised if he starts Justin Fields again this week, but we will see. So reviewing that matchup, I'm going to turn it over to Rocket Charlie to hit us with another 2. So
yeah.
Take it away.
Sure. And real quick, on my matchup, I will say last week, you remember I was worried about the A.J. Dillon situation and the Aaron Jones, but that was resolved this week. Happy to see him go off and Lamar, be Lamar was reassuring for us. destroyed the Super Bowl opponent from last year. Just if there were any doubters about the championship last year and who was better between me and Brian Todd, that was decided. It was quiet, but it did happen. So, yeah, he put up a good fight, but he does have my guys from last year, which was obviously him just chasing. It's a copycat league, so he got caught out there last week against me, and I'm gonna be reviewing Nate and Goddard from last week. It looked like Goddard still has not heard about Matt Stafford and decided to start him. He got him on a good week though. Kyler Murray put up some decent points for the Possums as well. That game was electric. He came back and did his thing. A couple of really cool 2-point conversions to get them back in that game and win in overtime. Hunter Renfrow, a guy I won't be starting, probably cutting due to his performance in that overtime. Actually, 2 fumbles in a row. So
he did.
Nick Chubb. Yeah, that was damn bad look for the white wide receiver. Set them back a good 15 years in that sequence. Nick Chubb for the Possums, man. That guy is a hell of a runner. Got him 30 points. There were a lot of high scorers last week. Some big numbers. Let's see. Ramondre Stevenson, pedestrian, but he does have flash. So I think the Possums will probably continue to roll him out. They don't have much other option.
Absolutely not. I won't roll him out again. Michael Pittman, Keenan Allen, Chris Godwin, all these guys are on my bench due to injury. So I really didn't have a choice last week, unfortunately.
So you'll be looking to replace him next week, I guess. But I know a loss will have you questioning just about everything. So,
what do you got to say, Nate, about take a minute? What do you got to say about the start? I mean, you put up good enough points this week to win, but
honestly, I've lost my third round pick last week. T. Higgins was questionable with a concussion, ended up playing. Keenan Allen was obviously hurt week 1. My tight end, Kittle, he's been a no-show, but Ertz filled in okay. I'm pretty close to steal it from Matt Rule. It's just a matter of getting healthy. Because I have the number 1 running back in fantasy right now. If I had a big disappointment, it would be Dalvin Cook because he's done nothing. And I think the play caller for Minnesota said he's going to start trying to get Cook in a rhythm. So hopefully things turn around for him. But I've already got the number 1.
Let Cook. Is that doesn't quite have the same ring to it as the let Russ cook, but yeah, let cook, I guess. It's been a weird first couple of weeks for the first round running backs.
Yeah,
terribly.
But somebody's going to emerge. Somebody's going to do what Jonathan Taylor did last year and start scoring in bunches. It'll be like week 3 or 4 or 5 coming up. It's gonna happen. So we'll see who it was, but
hopefully Austin Eckler. But
no,
could be.
It's already. You're not listening. It's already Nick Chubb.
Austin's doing well this year around the league.
Yeah, everybody having a little buyer's remorse at the beginning, but it's hard to really say who would have been the good pick because none of those top backs are really doing their thing. But yeah, so what do you got for the next matchup, Rocket Charlie?
Next matchup was an electric one between the Woodpeckers and Herbert's More Swift. In my opinion, there is no better win in fantasy than the Monday night come from behind win. We'll like to hear from Mike about that in a second, but he pulled it out with Jalen Hurts, a guy who was as risky as any pick, I think, in this draft for where he was being drafted. And it's paid off for him, at least this week. I believe took a loss week 1 with him, but still he's been playing his ass off, and it looks like it's going to be a solid pick throughout the year. So you got to feel good about that if you're the Woodpeckers. Dynamic quarterback. I think more and more years that we play fantasy, those of us who've been paying close attention realize that having a running quarterback is basically like a cheat code if they're any good. So I always try to target one if possible. But anyway, enough about that. giving away the recipe here. But anyway, so Mike came back with Jalen Hurts in the first half. Like he had it sealed up for him and then really didn't do much after that because the Eagles were up so much. They were beat the brakes off the Vikings. Again, Eckler in single digits, right on the cusp of a 10 spot, but just fell short. James Conner didn't do much, even though the Cardinals offense was cooking in the late quarters there. Just kind of like, pretty much got it done with Jalen. Nobody sticks out except for Mike Williams other than those players to me. The defense was a goose egg. So, I mean, a lucky win. You got to be pretty deflated if you're Martinez, I would imagine. Cole Kermit the Frog had a goose egg for you. That's not good. You got to hate that guy by now if you're Martinez. I'm sure he'll be walking down the street on waivers pretty soon. Like a good performance, honestly, from Martinez's team, minus a couple spots in DK and Etienne was pedestrian, but double digits again. And Javonte Williams, a first-round pick, running back, just putting up between 5 and 9 points, which just seems to be like the average right now for those guys. So I believe Wood, correct me if I'm wrong, but 1-1 for you.
Yep, 1-1. Huge win.
Nothing new to see them. Yeah, Tinez falls to 0-2 per usual, but we'll see if he can climb out of it. So
I mean,
hard to draft when you're not there.
Right. That's what he'll say, of course. It was a must win. I think felt like a must win for both of us. And like you said, the excitement of the Monday night comeback is unmatched in fantasy, especially when it's a QB, and an exciting one at that. Made it really fun. And I'm just really thrilled with the Jalen Hurts pick. I was targeting him heavily. He was really the only QB on my board. And like you mentioned, I've been a running QB guy for years now. I really don't remember the last time, whether it was Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray. I've had a running quarterback. I don't remember my last pocket passer fantasy QB because you look at a guy like Herbert that's clearly a better quarterback, but the guys that aren't getting it done on the ground are not going to produce in the 30s and 40s unless they throw 500 plus yards and 5+ touchdowns. So
unless they're Tua, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like having two players almost when a guy gets you almost 100 rushing yards, 1 or 2 touchdowns. So the rest of my team has not been impressive.
5-6 touchdowns regular.
Right. No, yeah. So, my team has not been overall impressive, but I've got some tweaks to make. The last thing I'll point out, and we'll move on, is I'm seeing a lot of encouragement out of some of these rookie wide receivers that I targeted late in the draft to kind of see if they would emerge. And I'm going to have to start playing these guys and just start to roll out 4 receivers because I can't play James Conner and some of these guys when Drake London's crushing it and Garrett Wilson – 27 points. I mean, these guys are rookies and doing their thing, and they need to be in the lineup. So you'll probably see me roll out some rookies.
Yeah, the Garrett Wilson kid looks good.
Yeah. So that really worked out. Those were like round 12 through 14 picks. I mean,
all right. That's enough of this Woods fantasy fucking talk all about his own team hour.
We can keep going. I'll keep going.
We're taking control of the podcast.
All right. I got my first win. So
shut it down.
I'm a little excited.
Congratulations.
Thanks. All right. And now we'll turn it over to Nate. Enough about the Packers. We'll turn it over to Nate so he can review a couple matchups. And did you, real quick though, Rocketrelli, did you have an impressive start or, unimpressive start by somebody that you want to throw out there? We didn't mention James Robinson really not getting for ETN.
I think I put it out on the thread, but I don't know what happened with Gabe from Buffalo. That was the darling of week 1 for Lucci. It looked like he had, I believe, a goose egg. Let me double check that. The Meth Lab Maulers. Yep. So I'm not sure what happened there, but maybe an injury. Did he get hurt during the game? I don't know.
No, he was hurt prior.
Ooh, that's not a good look.
So
no, actually, Speaking of the Meth Lab Maulers, we're going to review the box score between the Meth Lab Maulers and the Return to Glory. Now, there was a lot of talk from a certain meatball in the league week 1. The fantasy gods don't look kindly on arrogance and spouting off at the mouth. They smited you. Your team was smited. And it couldn't have happened to a nicer
He
guy.
also started an injured player, which is not great.
No,
Bad
that's
coaching mistake there.
That's never a good look.
Self-smiting.
I think
Self-smoted.
none of us can really root against Austin because he's such a nice guy. And honestly, I think at this point, his team is the best. That's just pretty much the 100 in the high 120s, I think, and 130s this past couple of weeks. You can't really argue with that. You can't. The points don't lie, as they say. But in their matchup specifically,
If I may cut in,
Yeah.
I can root against Austin. I've seen Austin do some terrible, terrible, awful, dark things. He's a bad man. All right. He got lucky with his draft, and I'm rooting against him. I just want that out there since,
well,
apparently he's
overall,
the darling here.
Collectively this week, his receivers, weren't as good. Wait, no, never mind. They absolutely put up.
I'll be
60
honest
points.
with you.
They put up 60 points between two people.
I'll be honest with you. I was talking shit saying that, if you want to crown him. And then I looked. I didn't even realize he had him on Raw. I don't know whose team I thought on Austin. There was a bit of concern. Those are four very good receivers he's got.
Diggs and Amon-Ra were both 30-plus points this week. And that's without Chase doing anything. So that's something. Lucci's
that's
team,
it's an impressive lineup, but
it's
a long season.
With the exception of Josh Allen, I mean, Lucci's team was abysmal. His second highest scoring, Christian McCaffrey, had 12.1 points. I want to say he was in the 30s headed into that Buffalo game, but I don't know. I mean, maybe he just need a little reality check.
Well, I think he got one. It's safe to say. I haven't heard a whole lot of chirping, but
no,
I hope he enjoyed it.
Well,
we'll
I
see.
think
It gets real pretty quick. Games are all feeling like must win already. So I essentially view it all as playoffs, really, because it always comes down in our league to the last few weeks. It feels like
Oh yeah, always a point
couple teams
tiebreaker.
fight.
Well, maybe he'll learn his lesson.
Maybe so.
So what you got for
Keep
the
an
last
eye on those
matchup to
lineups.
review?
What'd you say, Mike?
What do you got for the last matchup?
I keep getting this echo. That's why I haven't been talking. You guys are like talking over each other or something.
It's a work in progress still. We can use the hand raise button if we need to.
God bless it. What was the last matchup that you had?
The last matchup is Jordan.
Well,
we'll speak to the technical
North
about that.
Yeah, I think
the Mandingos.
The Mandingos looks like they got their first win, huh?
No, I believe he's 2-0 actually.
Is he?
He is.
Surprisingly,
He is, yeah.
I'm not being rude, but I mean his team hasn't been that impressive.
For somebody who doesn't prepare at all for the draft, it is surprising. I will agree with you, Mike.
Comments like that, I tend to pull against guys because I put a lot of effort into fantasy football. So when I hear someone say they don't prepare, I hope.
I mean, honestly,
playing the heel, I feel like a little bit.
Right.
Honestly, Jordan likely would have been a lot closer had he not started.
You're stirring the pot with comments like that. You know what you're doing.
Had Jordan not started Justin Fields, which nobody in the league knows why he started Justin Fields. It's a mystery.
We all actually know why. We just don't agree with why. It's because he's from Ohio State. That's the only reason.
Well, he put up 8.8 points, so that's
he threw the ball like 7 times, I think, the whole game.
That could have been the difference. He threw the
ball
like
game. 7 times the whole game.
So, his receiver core.
Look, no offense to Darnell Mooney, but when your best target is like the size of Spud Webb, it's just not going to work out. The guy's good, but he can't be a wide receiver one, in my opinion. I was shocked when I heard that at the draft. Shocked when I saw the Bears wide receiver depth chart. I knew it was bad.
Speaking of wide receiver ones, Justin Jefferson laid down.
He's no Paul Mooney.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson laid. What the fuck is that noise? Justin Jefferson laid down this week on him, so that could have been a huge difference maker in the matchup. Tyreek Hill carried Matt's team because he was really the only player, that outperformed his weekly projection. Everybody else.
Doing on.
You there?
Yeah.
Keep going.
I can't. There's just audio issues on my end.
We're gonna fix it by next episode.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, looking at the rest of it, not a offensive explosion. Nobody's getting the offensive explosion trophy for this one, but a win's a win. That's all you can ask for. He is 2-0, so if Derrick Henry decides to show up, he could be a dangerous team.
Definitely. That reviews the matchups. What did I just do?
Yeah, the Titans look like they're in trouble.
Hang on.
Our interns are fired.
Yeah,
dude.
someone's getting fired after this for sure. So that was a little warning. So we're down to our 10-minute mark. So we got 10 minutes to go.
Cool.
We'll probably be upgrading to the real Zoom by next week. But the reason I didn't review some around the league and some of that stuff is because we wanted to save a little time to look forward to this week with the matchups ahead. So looking at it, there's a huge matchup for me to try to knock off those Mandingos that we were just talking about, the 2-0 Mandingos, try to hand them their first loss. But I'm going to need another huge day from Jalen Hurts probably to make it happen, or some of my guys to actually start playing well. So the other matchup, I'll review one more and then see if you guys want to talk about any of them. But the Renegades Possums.
Yeah.
We got a 2-0 team against a 0-2 team. Rocket Charlie trying to move to 3-0. Can he do it? That's a big start. Can Nate spoil that? He needs that first win. Obviously a lot bigger for Nate than it is for Rocket Charlie, really. So he'll need to.
Feels like a letdown trap game, I'll be honest. I'm going to go ahead and congratulate Nate on the win this week. You made all the right start and sit decisions. Congratulations. I'm going to go ahead and look ahead to week 4. But yeah,
my whole team is hurt. I don't have any start fucking sit decisions.
The fake humble is already coming out. The fake humble has already arrived. Yeah, I mean, the injuries are tough for you. It happens every year, happening to you earlier, but
it doesn't happen like this every year. I mean, you're talking about like out of the top 6 picks, 4 of them, I think, or like 5 of them got hurt. One of them's back. So I'll take T. Higgins being back. It gives me a chance. But
Keenan Allen's still out.
Yeah.
T. Higgins is dangerous. For sure.
Keenan Allen.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of bad matchups this week as well. Tough matchups for all my players, it seems like, other than Josh Jacobs, who is about to break out at any minute now. Looks very spry.
Nobody's fucking scared of Josh Jacobs.
Those are dangerous words for a man who's about to face him, but
All right.
I sure hope that doesn't come back to bite you in the butt.
I'm not worried.
Nate, what do you think about the Meth Lab Maulers and Stink Pickles matchup?
Let's see.
Right now, the Maulers
a slaughter.
54% favorites, so they're giving him the edge a little bit.
I'm just interested to see, for more of my own personal reasons, whether or not McCaffrey does anything, and vice versa for Taylor. I mean, I think that either of these teams could easily win this. It's not like a gross. I don't buy into the whole 54 to 46% probabilities of win and loss, but the backs well, somebody's going to do something. It's like you guys were saying. Eventually, the cream rises to the top, and especially on a team like the Panthers, that the whole offense should be centered around McCaffrey. You have to expect a big week coming. Gabe Davis, the most feared player in the league, is questionable. Judy is questionable. McCaffrey is actually now questionable too.
I'll say,
But he came out today and said that he would be questionable if he got up to take a piss. So,
I'll say this about Taylor and the Colts. And this is my take, but like the Commanders look awesome as far as fantasy goes. There's 3 starting wide receivers there every week. If you're Lucci, you probably want to take a look at starting Jahan Dotson this week. The Colts look like shit with Matt Ryan. They got shit stomped. But Taylor suffered, obviously. They look like, they're going to struggle. I think the Colts may have been better with Wentz, and now Wentz is like leading the Commanders in a very fantasy relevant offense. I have McLaurin, and he's eating, and like he's getting the least amount of targets out of Samuel and Dotson right now. So that's something to take a look at. But I think Taylor's talent will eventually explode, but that team just doesn't look like they're going to compete for the playoffs this year like they were last year. So
they're no click Commanders. And, no. I think that having Pittman out last week, all the attention was on Taylor. So stack boxes all game. You're not really doing much, especially.
Yeah.
Now, Ryan might be over the hill, It could have happened over the
Seems like it.
I would say definitely over the hill. And then for the last couple minutes, just a quick review. The Giggle Fucks and the Gladiators. Currently, the line is even. So if you're hitting Vegas, that is a even matchup there. No favorites, 50-50. Gladiators, Giggles should be a good matchup.
Beautiful.
And then those are both 1-1 teams. And then the last matchup, Rocket Charlie, for about a minute or two, if you want to discuss the Martinez Austin matchup coming up. Martinez claiming
Martinez
lost, could be fake humble as well.
I get the feeling it's not. I think he's legit concerned about his team. It looks like he picked up a tight end solution in Hayden Hurst. I think for the Bengals now, for the Bengals now, he's over there. So could be a change. Tony Pollard actually looks decent. He just needs Javonte Williams to materialize into what he thought he was going to be as his first round pick, and he might be able to pull out a win. But yeah, Austin's team looks scary unless they go out and lay a dud. Then all of a sudden, everybody's calmed down. But this has definitely been the week of praising Austin. I'm rooting for Martinez just to keep the league competitive. And obviously, if I can pull out a win, it'll distance me a game. So other than Austin, I feel like there's still some good teams. Obviously, the Packers are on the rise. A couple guys have injuries, but I know Nate's going to be on that waiver wire, and he's going to be picking up anybody who's available and spending money early, like a smart owner would. And look forward to seeing who, after like week 6 or so, is still in the lead. I hope to be 6-0 by then, but we'll see.
Well, it'll be fun. It's going to be a good week. Looking forward to it. Tonight we got some football. We'll wrap up here in a second, but few fantasy relevant players.
What's the game tonight? I don't even know.
Browns.
Well, that's why. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a fun real life matchup.
Take the over.
Pretty big fantasy matchup, really. Nate's got Nick Chubb going. I'm going to start Kareem Hunt. So that's a big one for me in my flex. I need that to go well. We'll see who gets the bulk of the touchdowns. I'll be fine with 50-50. Hopefully they both score. And
who else is starting in that game other than
Najee Harris will be starting for Goddard.
Yeah.
And I don't know if any Steelers wide receivers are getting
Deontay Johnson, maybe.
Yeah, that's the only guy I can think that would be starting. I felt like maybe he was on.
I think Goddard started Deontay.
Yeah, I think he's starting them, and
Goddard's Gladiators.
Nobody in the Cleveland passing game likely getting any fantasy love. So it'll be mostly running backs, a lot of running back play going on tonight. So Yeah, thank God for fantasy making a really crappy game somewhat interesting tonight. So I'll
Fair
be tuning
enough,
in
yep.
for the show. We'll see how it goes. But
David and Joku can fuck himself.
yeah,
Nah.
the ends, man, crushing,
That blows.
including myself. All right, guys, well, that's it. It's been fun. It's a good week 2, and looking forward to week 3. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Watch the YouTube video or watch the podcast, listen to the podcast. I'm sorry, on Anchor. I'll send that link out, and hope y'all enjoyed, and we'll see y'all next week. Take it easy.